Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Tie Time with Ryan. And as you know by now, I'm Ryan. In Tie Nation, as always, we are brewing up the episode with a strict set of ingredients, 90% nonsense and 10% tie. And today's episode is brought to you by pie, in honor of Pie Day. Not this kind of pie, but this kind of pie. But sort of this kind of pie. Definitely this kind of pie, not so much this kind of pie, but also probably sort of, yes, this kind of pie. Today's episode is featuring the Merovingian knot, as made famous by The Matrix Reloaded, which was the second movie in the trilogy. The villain in the movie was called the Merovingian, and he wore these really fancy, kind of indescribably complex knots, which at the time, nobody really thought about knots this way, so it was a very different way of thinking about them, because if you look at the actual knot, everything's sort of inside out and backwards. This is wrapped around backwards, the little part's in front, the big part gets tucked in the bottom. It looks really fancy and cool if you have a vest and a jacket on, but nobody had thought about doing this beforehand. So before The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix series came out, studies had been done to figure out how many knots a man could feasibly actually tie around his neck. And it was something in the hundreds or the low thousands. But after The Matrix series came out and they discovered, well, we can flip everything backwards, and it just exploded into this new study about how many different ways you could tie a tie. Link to the study up here. And what they discovered was you can actually tie a tie 24,882 different ways. So, what does that mean for us? Well, it means that I can do one tie episode per week for the next 478 years. Ranking time. So where does the Merovingian knot stack up on our list? Well, it was actually much easier to assemble and put on than I thought it was going to be, which gives it bonus points. It's also a very compact knot, which I appreciate and I enjoy. It seems very fancy to me, so it's something you wear on a formal occasion. It isn't, however, my favorite of all of the knots that I've tried on so far. It does actually rank pretty high, and it's going to end up edging out the Van Wyck knot for the new number 3 spot. Well, that's all the time we have today on Tie Time. Thanks for stopping in. You stay classy. So if you enjoyed the episode today, go ahead and gently tap on that like button. And if you like what I'm doing here on Tie Time in general, hit subscribe. Get crazy with it. And as always, if you have any comments or thoughts on the show, leave all that in the comments section below. Thanks for stopping in. It's 10:14 at night. I gotta be up at like 6, but you know what? Doing it for the fans. Fan, singular, I think. Hey, Derek. That a man could tie around his neck? It was in the... Yeah, so I mean, like, the Merovingian, he was a weird sort of villain. He was always he was kind of uptight, and he was, like, so British, and, like, you know, he thought he was, like, the coolest guy, but he was sort of a dork. I don't know, he wasn't, like, that great of a villain. I don't even really remember him being substantially cool in the movie. He just wore cool suits and had like a hot chick next to him all the time. She was weird too, because she always wanted to make out with Neo. Like, why do you want to make out with Neo? That doesn't make any sense. You're near this obvious billionaire who practically owns parts of the Matrix, and you're like, Neo, kiss me like you kissed Trinity. And you're like, how do you even know how he kisses her? Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's like nonsensical. Why do you care at this point? You're in like this discotheque club with a going on, and it's like, it doesn't make any sense at all. Why don't you just be with the Merovingian, even though he's the bad guy, I guess, but like, he's not that bad. He's pretty cool. He's not as bad as